it when you talk true sense. Rather hear the words that glorify nonsense. Yes, and I got my brains, and I'm pretty like my mama. I don't wanna pick your brains. I just want the microphone. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I wanna share my love, but it's gotta be with someone who's precious. You're never gonna get my love, accepting that you're real precious. You're never gonna cramp my style, baby, cause I get a lot of pleasure. And if you wanna test my style, you better have a whole lot of measure. Cause I'm a rock back chick, never tag along the never look back chick. Trendy, a little crazy, intelligently singing rock back. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, the 16th of November, 2021. This is the Tobago Updates morning show, and we are coming to you live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. I am Julian Skeet, and we're happy to be here with you today.
And I am Rhea Richardson George. Remember, viewers, that this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning to Julian. Good morning, Tobago, Trinidad, the Caribbean. Those of you viewing us via the live. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Rhea, I think it's been excellent in terms of yesterday. What we would have seen happening is nomination day in Tobago in preparation for the December 6th election.
Yes.
And I think that would have been some kind of energy within the Tobago space, probably giving us a signal of what is to come in the campaign period.
Well, you know what, Julian, I'm not even going to focus on nomination day, because elections are won on election day at the end of the day. So all the support that we saw coming out, going out to all of the candidates or prospective candidates yesterday, leaving the stations, very hopeful and excited because they were selected. At the end of the day, we will see what happens on December 6th. Now, a lot of things happened yesterday, Julian, at the various stations. We had 4 stations, as I can recall, 4 stations where the candidates would have gone for selection. Presented themselves and stuff. There were some concerns about the safety restrictions. So in some cases, persons were just all excited and, throwing out their support and just gathering without socially distancing themselves. And, that posed somewhat of a challenge for law enforcement. So
I mean, that's part of the challenge, naturally. When you have numbers as we have seen, this time around, and I think it's particularly high, the EBC would have confirmed that we have 45 candidates that would have presented themselves from 5 political parties.
Right.
So that in itself, with of course only 2 of those political parties being the PDP and the PNM, presenting a full slate of 15.
Right.
IDA would have presented 13, and then you had the 2 other individuals, both Nkosi Phillips and Ricardo Phillips, that would have ran as independents, now running under their respective political parties for this election. So the number of candidates in itself really speaks volumes to what we can only anticipate as information that will come forward for really the development of the Tobago space. I was also pleased to see some levels of the camaraderie between the candidates. I noted clearly when you had the arrival of the PDP candidates, particularly in the Codler Hall area, and I think just at the point, Larry Paul, one of the candidates for the PNM, was just coming out.
Right.
And I saw, impressive again, Marcelin Melville Jack going across to meet up with Larry Paul, and they having their little interaction with Farley Chavez Augustine, you know what I mean, and others within the PDP, which was a nice mix, because of course it's only one walkway,
right.
and at a given point the walkway became crowded with both political parties, so you might as well walk over and greet each other.
That's right.
You know, to show your supporters an indication that this is not a war, this is not about violence.
That's right.
You can each support your respective political parties
and remain.
That's it, and remain very civil. But it would be a miss of me if I did not mention, Rhea, the dress code of the PDP candidates.
And that seems to be that was the talk of the town
Impressive.
yesterday. Yes.
Usually I told people in the last election that I always look forward to seeing Zia Hackett and Melissa Guy. I always look forward to seeing those two individuals in particular, because I know they usually present themselves very impressive at that. And I am, to tell you the truth, this time around, the PDP really presented themselves in a manner. I think it was the uniformity that really allowed them to stand out as much, because to be very honest with you, a number of our candidates were presented themselves very nicely. My good friend, Nadine Stewart, you know what I mean?
Coming out in all her glory, and she looked fantastic. And I mean, if this were a fashion show, she certainly would have won.
Well, she would have competition from my former teacher, Marceline Melville Jack.
And a force to be reckoned with when you talk about dress code, Mrs. Jack always represents well.
Yeah, and that's always very impressive. So we saw a good signal yesterday for me, particularly coming from those candidates, and I am really hopeful that this is the kind of energy that can transcend over the period of time, right? Just before we wrap up very quickly, it's important for me to do the birthday shout-outs. Avanel Beard, good morning to you and happy birthday. We also want to send out birthday greetings to Cyandine Blackman. That should be Miss, because teacher, you know, so you have to say Miss Blackman. Happy birthday to you. We trust that you have an enjoyable day. Cyandine. Kurt Moses, my former classmate at Scarborough Secondary, good morning to you and happy birthday. Rochelle Johnson, happy birthday to you as well. We trust that all of you have an enjoyable birthday celebration coming from the Tobago Updates family here.
Definitely. And the birthday greetings going out to Helen Watson, celebrating her birthday today. And Pastor Terence Baines is celebrating today. Pastor Terry, happy birthday going out to you.
He worked more on his birthday.
That's right. And a special shout out this morning going out to Sir Christopher Clark of the Signal Hill Secondary School and his wife Donnelly Clark. Donnelly, good morning. I understand that they watch the show every morning. Two of our biggest supporters, so lots of love going out to you guys today. Have a great day. And we want to take the opportunity as well to send out condolences this morning to the Archer family on the passing of Martha Archer. I was taken aback when I saw this on social media. She's a stalwart within the Canaan Bonaccord community, was very active in netball, and she made waves throughout Tobago where netball and sport was concerned. So condolences going out to the family.
And I think, you know, if one is to really stop and look at the scenario, her impact as far as netball would have gone nationally and well beyond. Everybody knew, you know, and we really want to extend condolences to the family, you know, sending out some love there to Corey's Nancy's. We know this is a tough time. Trust me, I know what you're going through, but we want to send you some love and support here coming from the Tobago Updates family, because Corey's is also one of our biggest supporters. From day one, Corey's has been sharing and supporting and
messaging.
Correct. So we got you, Corey's. We got you, and we will continue to remember you in prayer, just as the entire Tobago will remember the family in prayer. Folks, on the rundown this morning, we have with us coming up in this next segment, Gary Griffith, former Commissioner of Police of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and we're going to be chatting with him with the current ongoing saga that's taking place. And who else do we have on the lineup, Rhea?
Well, interesting enough, coming up just after him, we have got Shirley Cook, who is a political activist, and she's going to be chatting with us with regards to the Tobago political matters and all that's been happening, you know, screening, nomination, candidates themselves, and what is happening on the ground with regards to the upcoming THA elections.
All right, and then we close this morning's segment with Billy Sterling Lewis, a psychologist, lifestyle wellness coach, and we'll be chatting a little bit with her to get a little more insight into prescribing lifestyle medicine. So that's our lineup here for this morning. As we prepare to go to the break, we want to thank those of you that have already joined us on the live. Just under 100 persons already and counting. Yes, we're happy within the first few minutes. Thank you. Morning to each and every one of you. Remember to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Whoa, it's the Quartz Black Friday sale. With the best-selling brands, best deals, and best offers all month long. You don't want to miss your chance to save on wow deals. Save on smart TVs, major appliances, furniture, bedroom and dining, with lots more to choose from. Shop today with Quartz Ready Finance and pay nothing for 90 days. Don't miss this Black Friday sales event. Only at Quartz, bringing value home.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Morning viewers, it's 7:11 a.m. and this is the Tobago Updates morning show. In this segment, we are chatting with someone that has become well known over the last few years to the Trinidad and Tobago public. Some know him as GG. Some know him as the man that would fix things and deal with the criminals in Trinidad and Tobago. Some even referred to him and said now he's just a civilian. We welcome to Tobago Updates, Gary Griffith, former top cop for the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Good morning, Mr. Griffith.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Tobago.
All right. So we are happy to have you in the mix this morning, and we're going to get straight into things. As we are very much aware, we would have seen a scenario over the last few months that would have developed in terms of a situation regarding the Police Service Commission. As of last week, we would have seen the Parliament taking the decision to appoint a new Police Service Commission in an effort to treat with what is the ongoing saga and the unfortunate situation before us. What do you anticipate, Mr. Griffith, in going forward?
Yeah, well, okay. Good morning to everyone yet again, especially Tobago. You never know what to expect in this country. We would have seen what has taken place over the last few months, and every single thing that took place was based on persons doing what was not required, operating in an illegal manner, unethical manner. And I am not here to cast aspersions as to if there was interference or whatever. The one person that we knew that committed a serious breach of indiscipline lack of ethics, if not illegal activities, would have been the previous PSC chairman, Bliss C. Prasad. She had no authority to take a merit list and to get what they call getting cattle boil, go back to the president and resend it. The president, there's one thing in the law that she was supposed to do, which was to forward it to Parliament, which she did not do. The then PSC chairman, she had no authority. She tried to mislead the PSC by stating that I was interfering with an investigation, which was a lie, and that was confirmed by Justice Stanley John. She then illegally removed a sitting commissioner of police. In some countries, that would be seen as treason or sedition. Here, it has been ignored at this time. That should have led to a police investigation. She then illegally suspended a commissioner of police without authorization by the PSC. She then refused to adhere to the directive of the PSC by not resending the letter, which I had to take legal action to have it done. So in all of these things, these are the things that have taken place. So what can happen now is that there is a new police service commission, and it is hoped that now that the baton has been passed to them, they will do what is required. They will do the right thing, the honorable thing, the legal thing. There's absolutely not one shred of information or evidence to justify scrapping that merit list. The country needs to exhale. This will obviously work wonders and benefit to Tobago as well. The perception that the country can do without a commissioner of police is just like saying, well, we can do it without a prime minister, and then ministers will keep ministering and councillors will keep counselling if you don't have a prime minister. It doesn't work that way. There is a void in leadership. And what is unfortunate is, since my departure, never before have we seen such a dismantling of national security apparatus. The people, the things, the policies that I did to ensure measurement of performance, making police officers accountable, they're slowly being removed bit by bit. And so it is hoped that this PSC will do what is required. They will go and take that merit list, forward it to the president. And again, even as criminologist, he jumped in, Professor Ramesh Dursaran, totally misled the country by stating that the merit list was tainted, that there was external interference. That is all a lie. That never took place. There's not one shred of information or evidence to show that anyway that the merit list was not above board and everything was done. The improper action was not forward in the merit list. So now that the merit list has been signed and sealed, it should be delivered by this new PSC. Failure to do that can give the impression that this will just be a continuation of the massive conspiracy to prevent that merit list from going to Parliament. For the country to exhale, that merit list can get to the president, and by next week it can go to Parliament, and the government or whoever can select whomsoever they choose as Commissioner of Police, and they will take responsibility for that action.
But Mr. Griffith, it's interesting that you are saying the merit list is signed and sealed, but in the response from the president, she indicated, and I'm just paraphrasing, just pulling together what she would have said, that after she made the inquiry, when the list was taken back or retracted, the response that she got was to indicate to her that they had not yet completed the process and they were still involved in the recruitment process. So it's interesting that you are saying that the list is complete, all right? But the circumstance or what was relayed by the president. So one can say very easily, is it not possible that this new police service commission can possibly take a direction in terms of going through the lengthy process again to compile yet another merit list?
No, that's what I just said. They can't. What you just said again was equivalent to rum shop talk, hearsay, and gossip. It's like saying I finished my exam, I handed it over to the teacher. Yeah, I handed over the list to the teacher, and then after I tell the teacher, oh, I didn't finish the exams yet. Give it back to me. That doesn't work that way. How could you say you handed over the merit list? It was signed by all 4 PSC members. It was given to the president, and then you come and say, I don't think I finished it as yet. Madam President, can I get it back? Are we really serious? This is an independent institution. How can you complete a merit list, have it signed by the 4 PSC members, give it to the president, and then say, in hindsight, I don't think I actually finished the merit list, so let me come back and ask for it? You really serious? You really saying that that's what happened?
Mr. Griffith, good morning again to you. What is it that we're missing here? I feel as though we are missing something. You indicated in an earlier article, all will be revealed soon. Give us some idea of what is really happening here, because based on what you're saying to us this morning and what you've said in the past, everything, all the checks and balances seem to be in place. But what is it that the public is missing with this situation?
Well, what the public is missing is straightforward. If there's a merit list, the merit list was completed and it was forwarded to the president. The law is clear. There's nothing giving the PSC any authority to go back and get cattle boil to take back the merit list. There's no law giving the president any authority other than to forward it to Parliament. That was not done. So obviously something took place. You cannot say that after several months of research, exams, assessments, mock media conference, interviews, background check, polygraph testing, psychometric testing, several different assessments, interviews, all done in an effort to ensure that you have a substantive commissioner of police by the 17th of August, and then you walk upstairs, President's house, you hand it over to the President, and then you automatically say, wait a minute, there's something I forgot, Madam President, can I get it back? It is obvious something took place, and Blissy Prasad must answer to the country. She has
but what? Yeah, we're saying here, it's obvious that something took place, but what took place?
Okay, what happened? And that is where I will make my comment and the information and the evidence I have in due course. But at this time, that is not necessary. What caused the problem at this time and who is the cause of it, it is of no value for the country to move forward. What is of value and the focus should be on getting the merit list forwarded. Because if that merit list does not go forward, it means that all of the conspiracy, the plans by certain persons to undermine our constitution, they would have succeeded. We must ensure that it must not succeed. And the only way that can be done is if the new PSC remains impartial, independent, they stick to their oath in office, and they do what is required. Because if there is nothing, there's absolutely nothing to justify scrapping the merit list, then the PSC will have no other alternative other than to forward that merit list to the president. Because failure to do that, it may be perceived or can be seen that the new PSC may be part and parcel and will continue in the process of a deliberate clandestine system used to undermine our constitution.
Honesty, the whole system in terms of getting to that point of a top cup is heavily dictated and determined by the parliament, not so?
Correct.
So one would ask the question, isn't there some bit of an expectation that the PSC would flow in a direction that meets the guidance or the intention ultimately?
No, not at all. There's no such part in the constitution that gives the PSC any leeway to be lured, advised, directed by Parliament in the performance of their duty. So what you're saying is 100% incorrect. The PSC's role and function...
Let me just make it clear. We know that on paper, it doesn't state that. But isn't there some natural inclination in that direction, perhaps?
No, there should not be. There cannot be. Well, again, people have different personalities. My personality was that people will say that as a minister, there's an inclination you should adhere to the directives of the Prime Minister and other members of Cabinet, even though what they're saying is incorrect. I, as a minister, remembered the priority was my oath in office. And that's why when it is that persons were trying to influence me to mislead the country and to make false statements to protect someone, I refused, and I was fired as Minister of National Security because I stuck to my oath in office and not based on what is perceived or what the country should believe that the person should do because he wants to keep a walk. And in the same way, where last year another Prime Minister tried to allude to the fact that the police should try to arrest persons in their homes, even though it was in breach of their constitutional rights, because the public health regulations give the police no such authority. Someone will say, well, the Commissioner of Police should listen and adhere to the directions of the Prime Minister because the Prime Minister may have influence to fire you. My style is different. My personality is different. The way I was brought up by my parents are different. So I stuck to my oath in office as well. If the PSC decides to do the same thing, which obviously Blissy Prasad failed to do, if she adhered to her oath in office, she's supposed to be independent, impartial, and do all that is required to just forward the merit list. If the government does not want someone, then it is to be dealt with in Parliament. It cannot be dealt with by the PSC trying to hide a list, trying to suspend persons, and then you have a Minister of National Security who he has created history, being the first minister in our country's history that did not know who was the Commissioner of Police. If you recall, the Minister of National Security, the man spent 30 years as an OJT preparing for a major ministerial post. He finally got one, and then he boasted that Gary Griffith is a civilian, not knowing that the only person who gives authorization for the position of Acting Commissioner of Police would have been at the time the PSC. And they gave me the authority on this, from the 16th of August. And he said, well, Gary Griffith is not the Commissioner of Police because I was on leave. So if Stephen Williams was on leave for his 6 years as Acting Commissioner of Police, was he still not the Acting Commissioner of Police? The answer is yes. Someone was acting in his absence. So when we have all of these situations taking place, we have seen individuals in strategic positions not understanding their role and function, which is why I'm saying it is hoped that the new PSC will understand their role and function, will understand their oath in office, and will do what is required. And they cannot and must not be influenced by any external organization. And if it is that the government does not want an individual, all they need to do is to remove that person from the top of the merit list and move and go down the pecking order.
Well, naturally, Mr. Gary Griffith, the country is hoping for the best with the appointment of this new PSC to move us out of this entire challenge. Yes or no is the answer I'm looking for. Do you have confidence in this newly appointed Police Service Commission?
Yes, I have to. The country, we must always have trust, faith in persons who hold such an office. And time will tell whether it is that any decision will be made in contrast. And again, as I said, the government, they have the right to select whoever they choose, and that must be done in Parliament. It must not be done by someone stopping a PSC chairman or alleged to be and telling a PSC chairman go back and get back the list, try to influence her to appoint someone to do an investigation where the PSC does not have such authority. It was it was mistake after mistake, even from the National Security Council, where they decided to appoint someone. They appointed someone, not pay him, and tell him how, and then ask him to do a report. And then the report seems indicative of what they wanted. And then they decide to leak this to reiterate in the Express. Now, anywhere in the world, if this happens in Langley or any other country in the world, there will be a major investigation of a major leak in your major security operational arm, the National Security Council. A leak comes from the National Security Council. It could only come from a minister or the secretariat. It is sent to the Express and then leaked. This was a deliberate intent, and this is a breach of national security, and no one says a thing. This is where you have the banana republic mentality. All of this was done as an orchestrated plan for an agenda by not going through this process for the appointment of the Commissioner of Police. As I said, there's no reason to believe any of these 5 persons recently appointed have the same type of character, ethics, or integrity as Bliss Prasad. So it is hoped that they will do the right and honorable thing.
Okay, I just want to switch gears here based on the time that we have remaining here. Now, in recent times, there was a report, September 2021, a probe into gun license racket. The probe headed by Stanley John involved allegations of license for sale racket in granting firearm users licenses, or FULs. I've lived in Tobago, Mr. Griffith, for over 30 years of my life, and within recent times we've seen an escalation in crime, gun-related crimes. Where are these guns coming from? That's a question on the ground. Where are the guns coming from? Do we have a gun manufacturing? Do we have? Where are the guns coming from? The average Joe, average Rhea, cannot bring in guns. Where are these guns coming from?
Oh, yeah, good question. And this is where it comes to the height of ignorance by persons who hold office. Just a few weeks ago, the OLEP, the Organization for Law Enforcement Policy, because persons were appointed in OLEP who didn't know the difference between a slingshot and a water gun. They had a press conference held by the Minister of National Security, and he boasted that OLEP has a plan, and OLEP stated that there's a major concern of firearms in this country because firearms have been the source of most persons being killed. So because of the concern of firearms in the country, they are launching an investigation and setting a policy for the issue of legal firearms. How clueless can you be? Because not one in the 4,000 firearms issued by myself in the last 3 years, half of those have been for law enforcement officials and never got before. So the law enforcement officials, we're speaking about persons of present and past police officers, fire officers, prison officers, members of the defense force, customs, immigration, and so forth. That is half. The others were all law-abiding citizens. Not one firearm issued by myself in those 3 years have been lost, have been stolen, have been used to commit a crime, not one has been used to commit a murder. But OLEP decides to do a policy
question, Mr. Griffith.
Illegal firearms.
Have you ever accepted a bribe for firearm?
Have you ever been involved in smoking weed and taking cocaine?
Mr. Griffith,
no, I want to ask you. Wait, sorry. I asked you.
No.
Have you been sniffing cocaine when you were small?
No, I have not.
Rhea, have you been involved in prostitution?
No, I have not.
And the only point I'm getting at, you are fast and out of place. What gives you the right and what was the reason to ask me such a question? And
Mr. Griffith, no, this no,
no,
Mr. Griffith. It's either
wait,
yes or
wait.
no. We are talking.
No,
We
okay,
are
then
talking the issues here this morning.
And
So there is no. There's no reason for you to get upset. It's either yes or no. We're talking the issues before us this morning. So let's not take it out of context and let's not get upset.
Ria, are you? If I ask you a question, are you involved in prostitution? Would you take it personally?
Mr. If the matters before you, if there are things leading in that direction, I'm simply saying here that this is a question that is on the ground. This is a question in the minds of people in the public. So simply answer the question.
I can't answer if you keep interrupting me. That's the first thing. So
then it's just a yes or no. In the interest of time, Mr. Griffith, it's either yes or no.
You're interrupting me again. And the point being is that there was never any such question to ask. I was the commissioner of police who announced that there were problems. I was the person who exposed it. I was the person who arrested 2 police officers. I was the person who ensured that there were 14 new policies to stop that activity. I was the person who issued FUL cards to prevent it from happening. So to have the audacity to ask me a question like that, you're out of place because I was the person who has been involved.
I am so sorry that you're taking this that way. I'm so sorry that you're taking that way. It's a simple question, yes or no. Okay, yes or no.
The point is, if I ask you a simple question, are you a prostitute? How would you not take it personal? Because there's nothing to align you to it. So to ask me the question means that there's an allegation, and there isn't. Stanley John has stated emphatically there's no such thing. So for you to ask a question like that, if you are out of, because there's nothing to justify that. It is similar to me asking if you are a prostitute.
So Mr. Griffith, my follow-up question to you is, it would appear that what is very important for you is to follow due process. And I will tell you why I say this, just to get clarity from you on the matter. Because ultimately, even if the same list is utilized and it goes to Parliament, the Prime Minister has already expressed something which you would have been aware of from last year, that he has lost confidence. So the likelihood of selecting you for the position, whether or not you may be the best man for the job, comes into question quite naturally. But is it that you are saying what is important to you is that the process is followed, even if the Parliament does not select you as the next top cop?
Exactly, and that is the point, because no one must use his position. If the Prime Minister has an issue with me, that is his right. He is the Prime Minister. When he wrote to the PSC, he wrote as a citizen. He's one of 1.4 million people. He can direct or influence the Police Service Commission based on the action. And his concern at the time may have alluded to the fact that he was trying to tell the police service that they should arrest persons in private property. I had no intention to breach the constitutional rights of citizens. I mean, as it pertains to Tobago, within my period as tour of duty to deal with Tobago, I placed a branch of SWAT in Tobago. It's led to over 100% solving rate in Tobago. I met with stakeholders constantly in Tobago, providing more access to Tobago, including ERP vehicles, tasers, pepper spray, motorbikes. I was involved in creating a health facility for police officers, opened Sylvan Road, Roxborough Station, established the Scarborough Police Station. I established a gender-based violence unit and set up a sexual offences unit, virtual access court in Tobago. I put a lot of emphasis in Tobago because I saw the importance. A safer Tobago meant a safer Trinidad. If it is a person's feel that, listen, we do not want this individual and there's no concern, I think even Tobago should be concerned, because 89% of our poll stated that they wanted an individual to return as Commissioner of Police. If a Prime Minister does not want me and he wants to ignore the voice of the people being the voice of God, that is the role of the Prime Minister, that is his right. But it can and should only be done in Parliament and not have persons influence. And it goes back to the point where persons deliberately lied, said something, and then all of a sudden they try to change the system because I have been preventing criminal activity and rogue elements in the police service from benefiting. And because of that, this country loves rumshot talk, gossip. So as I said, I go back to, if somebody asks you if you're a prostitute, you would take it personally because you have done nothing to align the fact that you should even ask that question.
So Mr. Griffith, the question would be, if we do go to the Parliament and then you are not selected, what's next for Gary Griffith?
Well, as I said, the fact is I never asked for a job, Ria, and Julian. The only reason I reapplied for this position is because 89% of the country stated that they want me to return as Commissioner of Police, and they had no concerns about me returning as Commissioner of Police. I will need to liaise closely with my family. and speak to other persons and to know exactly what to do. But as I said, the only reason I do this is to serve my country. And unfortunately, there is evil in this country. I mean, the 11% who do not want me, most of them involve criminal elements, police officers who benefited from the corruption of FUL that I stopped, police officers who were claiming that they were working 24 hours a day, 30 days a month, and it was being signed by other officers, police officers involved in DSS, police officers involved in escorting criminal elements. So because I put checks and balances, systems to measure their performance, make them accountable, there's a criminal element inside the police service and those on the outside that would love to see my back. I am only making this decision to serve my country and to reapply based on the request of the vast majority of this country. And if 41 persons decide otherwise, they will make that decision, and then I will know and decide what to do in the future. But all I am doing is trying to be a humble servant to help my country.
You have not yet had any plans for what's next if you are not selected?
No, but there have been many people that have been speaking to me. They have asked me to serve my country. As I said, I have served my country in different capacities. I was the youngest officer in the attempted coup, a military officer. I was the first Trinidadian to get a UN peacekeeping medal. I've been the military attaché for a prime minister and a president, the only person that can boast of that. I have also been a national security advisor, minister of national security, a commissioner of police at a period where it was the highest reduction in every single crime in the last 18 months. The public trust and confidence in the police service moved from 14 to 42%. And if it is that with all of this, there will be other avenues for me to serve my country, I will do so.
Okay. Final question here, Mr. Griffith. Now, you referred to the dismantling of the national security apparatus, things that you fought very hard to push within the police service and to bring that level of confidence to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, particularly the TTPS app and the online reporting, etc. How do you feel with the dismantling of these apparatus? Give us a quick response here. We've got less than 30 seconds.
All right, well, again, as I said, going back to Tobago, there was a lot of emphasis. I look at specific locations. And if it is that people want to destroy what was being there, it is hypocritical when people speak about an OPV that was never there. We had systems to measure performance, make police officers accountable. Now they've been removing contracts, destroyed the sexual offences unit. We had motorbikes coming to the police to Tobago. We had a mounted branch coming to Tobago. There were a number of things that we had set for Tobago. And if people see it fit that we must dismantle it because Gary Griffith is no longer there, we must never use the police service similar to a state board. When governments change, you just shut down everything. You have dismantled the prime asset of national security, which is that human resource. So if it is that we do this, I think the country would pay a price for it, and we must never try to personalize national security. It is unfortunate, but it is hoped that with the new PSC, we will have a substantive commissioner of police and the country can move forward.
The baby and the bathwater syndrome. So they
Correct.
getting rid of everything all at once. So thank you so much for chatting with us. And let me just say here, Mr. Griffith, you were the best thing to happen to the police service in Trinidad and Tobago ever. Okay.
Thank you very much. I look forward to speaking to you in the near future. Take care.
Always. Anytime. Thank you so much for chatting with us this morning. Former Commissioner of Police, Gary Griffith. There was a lot more coming up on the program. This is the Tobago Updates Morning Show. And we invite you to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Whoa! It's the Quartz Black Friday sale. With the best-selling brands, best deals, and best offers all month long. You don't want to miss your chance to save on wow deals. Save on smart TVs, major appliances, furniture, bedroom and dining, with lots more to choose from. Shop today with Quartz Ready Finance and pay nothing for 90 days. Don't miss this Black Friday sales event. Only at Quartz, bringing value home.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your.
It's a different type of thing down there. Man, we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to this segment. It's 7:38 a.m. and in this segment, you are viewing the Tobago Updates morning show, and we are chatting with Miss Shirley Cook. Some know her through the Civil Net Society organization. Some know her as a business owner. Some just know her in terms of the Crown Point Association by virtue of responsibility and really trying to make a difference in the business sector. Good morning, Miss Shirley Cook, and welcome on set.
Good morning, and good morning, Tobago. Thanks for having me.
All right, so this morning you're here in your capacity as business owner and president of the Crown Point Business Association.
Yes.
One of the things we want to chat about is that we are currently in the peak of the election season. We just had the nomination day that took place yesterday with 45 candidates presenting themselves. Tell us, as we begin the conversation this morning, what's the general feel of the business sector at a time like now during the election season? Some say the business sector would go behind those who they believe would bring is likely to be successful. Some say they play the waiting game because at the end of the day it's about business first. You tell us, what's the general mindset of the business sector at a time like now?
Well, clearly that is the general mindset, and the reason for that is people go into business to create wealth and to build themselves and to build a society. And therefore, anyone who proposes a direction or a path that would lead them there, considering the times we're in, they will follow those persons, regardless of who they are. So yes, that's a sentiment on the ground.
All right. What would you consider to be one of the main issues that for the business sector at a time like now, where we are treating with the reality of a pandemic, and for now, most of the economy and so has virtually, recently reopened, particularly a number of areas in business. So what would you say, for you in the business sector at this point would be some of the key issues?
Well, I think that businesses want to reopen, but they want to do that responsibly. And I don't think, particularly in the Tobago space, that the business fraternity have been listened to adequately. Because Tobago, as we know, the private sector is driven by tourism-related activities. And therefore, we have suffered tremendously. And we want to open, but we want to do that responsibly. And we do not want to be bullied, for lack of a better word. We want to work with the government. And therefore, for the businesses and the people I speak with, we want to follow the health protocols. At the same time, we want to run our businesses. And therefore, we think that they should have a situation where Tobago on the whole should be like a safe zone and not pick and pigeonhole different businesses, because at the end of the day, people see it as divisive. And therefore, businesses, one of the recommendations coming from the parts of the business fraternity is that you open all businesses and you hire a lot more health inspectors rather than having it done in a kind of police state kind of environment. So if you have more health inspectors, and you have every business which should be registered under the Companies Registration Act, and health officials go out to these businesses, identify their capacity and the spacing and all the things that would comply with the health regulations, and they visit unannounced periodically, and then but place warning, something like the third strike and you're out, then everybody would now try to follow. You see, if you give people the opportunity to comply, people will comply, because at the end of the day, we are the ones suffering without having any income. So I'm hoping that the powers that be listen to other ideas that could get the economy working at the same time, married at health and economic concerns of the country.
So as we bring it home to Tobago specifically, do you think there's a bigger role that the politicians here should be playing in terms of ensuring that the business sector is certainly heard and the views are reflected here in the Tobago space?
Well, how they could play a role is really beginning to listen and beginning to partner, and to partner in a way that does not pit one business against the other, which is exactly what's happening now in the society. Some are able to open and conduct their business, and others are suffering. And the ones who have been consistently and mostly affected, they are the ones that have the least support from the government's support system, financial support. And that is unfortunate, because even within the tourism sector, or the persons that are affected, there are those that are affected even more so than others. And you need to identify those. And this is the kind of things that they could do. They need to facilitate what we're feeling on the ground to make it a bit easier, because we want to comply. We want to be responsible. Tobago is known for, Tobago is not harsh and rash people. People will comply, but they just need the direction, and they need to be listened and to be heard.
So the follow-up question would be, for the business sector, looking at what the general promises have been so far. I mean, we're now getting into the details of the campaign for most of the political parties in terms of their plans and so regarding the economy. Is there anything you want to put out there that you definitely want to see the political parties deal with on the campaign trail in an effort to respond to concerns of the business community?
I definitely want to see each of these campaigns address what is critically and what is failing Tobago over the years, the transparency and accountability part of governance. And that is important, because when we do not manage our resources adequately, it results into the issues that we're seeing. The poor education, the misinformation, and the lack of compliance with the health regulations, the divisiveness within the society, the separating, you know, the rich and the poor, having communities just fall, having, you know. So I would like to see them address that in the immediate term. The second and most important overall is Tobago's autonomy. That is at the crux of pretty much everything that fails Tobago. But because we have been suffering for so long, getting in there and addressing the accountability issue and the management of our resources is a critical first component. And then you address the autonomy issue with full force.
All right. So you have mentioned two major issues there in terms of transparency and accountability and Tobago's autonomy. Do you see us getting to a point where there will be some coming together, both of the majority in the House and the minority, by the time we get past December 6th, to really represent a Tobago position in terms of moving forward the currently stalled bill that is before still before the Parliament in discussion?
We can do that with the proper leadership in the THA. We can do that with the proper leadership that speaks to a Trinidad central government with the kind of confidence and trust and forcefulness that it deserves, because we have to understand that this country, had it developed Tobago adequately, Tobago could have been leveraging the fallout from the pandemic and the economic decline even before the pandemic. And therefore, it has to be viewed from the standpoint of Tobago's development is national development. And therefore, this is how the new leadership in the THA has to address the central government. They should never go to the central government cap in hand, like Tobago does not contribute anything to the national economy. They have to go with the fortitude for the country to understand that based on Tobago's geographic location, its marine resources, the capacity of the human resource on the island, which because of lack of development is a constant brain drain. So they need to go with those arguments to put Tobago on the map, not only within Trinidad and Tobago, regionally and nationally. And that is the kind of forcefulness and respect that Tobago deserves by the next leadership.
Do you see that possibility? Because there's basically three. It's Tracy Davidson Celestine, it's Farley Augustine, and it's Dr. Denise Oyafat Angus. Do you see that possibility in any of the three? I won't put you on the spot to say who, but do you see that possibility to drive that kind of leadership, to really make that change in the Tobago space and ensure Tobago is well represented?
Yes, I see that possibility, yes.
All right.
I could definitely say that I see that possibility because, and the reason for saying that, because I see that on the campaign trail, we have to discuss new ideas. We have to discuss innovative ways in which Tobago could now start to get its standing and its ground. And we have to look at the different parties that are engineering and are motivating us in that direction.
Tell us very quickly in terms of the regulations, because we're coming down to the end of the,
Yes.
the interview time. The issue of vaccination and how it affects or does not affect the business community at this point. What is your advice to the general population?
The advice is that I personally would err on the side of human rights. And any democracy is based on that. And we operate under a democracy here in our governance style. What I would say is that in the beginning you asked me about how we could navigate around this pandemic. Because it's important to maintain human rights, this is why businesses need to be listened to create a system where we can all comply with the health regulations, but at the same time able to survive economically. So that's a key really to your question, is that how do we see, you can repeat your question
So for
again.
you it's not a hard and fast.
It's not a hard and fast.
That you should
and
either be that or the other.
And that is why you have such low compliance, because one of the things is in countries where there is lack of trust and confidence in the government, you find there is a low uptake of the vaccine, because and the more the government ease up on a more aggressive and mandate, I could understand the government position for doing so. But you have to take into consideration where people are at. You have to meet people where they are. So you could, local delivery is important for your policies to be executed.
Viewers, you've heard it there from the voice of Shirley Cook. It's important to meet people where they are at as we look at this situation going forward on the election campaign trail heading towards December 6th, or THA elections. Viewers, at this point, as we prepare to go to a break, we want to remind you, thank you so much for all of you sharing the love and support and joining us on the live. Continue, folks. Continue to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Whoa! It's the Quartz Black Friday sale. With the best-selling brands, best deals, and best offers all month long. You don't want to miss your chance to save on wow deals. Save on smart TVs, major appliances, furniture, bedroom and dining, with lots more to choose from. Shop today with Quartz Ready Finance and pay nothing for 90 days. Don't miss this Black Friday sales event. Only at Quartz, bringing value home.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there, down in Tobago. It's a different type of thing down there. Man, we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there, down in Tobago.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back. It is the Tobago Updates Morning Show, and we've got an exciting short interview for you. Chatting with us this morning is Mrs. Billy Sterling Lewis, and it's all about living in health, living in health. So that's what we're talking about this morning. Her new book, The 21-Day Experience by Billy Sterling Lewis. Billy, good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. It's good to be able to do this interview with you. Living in health. Let's start by telling us this morning what prompted this.
Oh, this came about as the result of my personal recovery in my grief process from the death of my son. And
I know you've shared publicly about this before.
Yes. My health just went down. You would not have seen it if you saw me on the street. But definitely it went down. And I had to decide whether I was going to live or die. And one day the Lord said to me, if you don't stop what you're doing, you are going to die. And I just started a series of steps back to, you know, living in health as it says, and continuing. I now teach people in the same way.
Now, I really wish that we had more time to go into it. Yes. But in terms of the book itself, how would you describe the book?
It really is a devotional that goes along with the program, because I run the program as well. So it's a 21-day devotional that helps you to create new change behaviors, or change behaviors, create new behaviors in about 21 days. Now, of course, we know it doesn't take 21 days necessarily to change behavior, but it creates a new pattern. And so that gives you the opportunity to maintain it.
Now, do you know of anyone who's ever tried, I mean, apart from you yourself, who's tried this? This 21-day challenge, and it has worked?
Oh yes, I've had groups since November last year, and persons continue to testify to the greatness of it. They lose weight. They lose the weight that besets them, because you will think it's just a weight loss program, but it's actually more than that. And so we have persons who have said, listen, my thinking has cleared up, my energy has come back. All the things that they didn't know that was going on with them, they've seen the improvements with it. So I've had groups since November 2020 up to a few weeks ago. I've completed the last one, and the results continue to be the same.
No, you said groups here. So is it that you involve women's groups, or women or persons in general who just want to have a better life or experience a better life?
Definitely. So I normally just advertise, and the persons who want to be a part of it will sign up for it. And it's one for the 21 days. We have 4 groups, so we meet once a week. And throughout the weeks, I give the support in terms of diet, in terms of, you know, addressing what's going on with them. And that group support once a week gives them the power to continue.
So how does it work? Is it that they must purchase the book to be able to do this?
I wouldn't say must, but definitely they should.
Yes.
You're going to benefit.
Yes.
And half of the things I teach is not in the book, so the actual second part of the book is coming out with the actual things that come out in the group meetings. And so definitely you would benefit from having a copy of the book, because then you're able to focus on those, what you call the thought changes, because it includes a thought diet. And that's what's taught in the program and through the book.
And where can persons purchase the book?
Well, I have copies of the book here, but if you are aware you want to get it on Amazon, you can. It's available on Amazon. You can just search for the name or my name, and the book will pop up.
Okay, this is really exciting stuff. And you did indicate that there is a second part to come.
Yes, the second part really for the book is just the interactive journal, which takes, again, the program that I teach into book form, so you can do it on your own. So that takes you from shorter snippets in terms of reading, being able to monitor your intake, being able to monitor your activities for the 21-day process, and allowing you to actually see and chart your progress as you go along.
Now, we've been talking vaccination as it relates to COVID-19. Let's talk a little bit about vaccination as opposed to, and let me just say as opposed to vaccination / healthy lifestyle. What are your thoughts?
Well, I like the way you corrected it, because there's no vaccination as opposed to.
Right.
I think one of the problems we have is that people have just seen the vaccine as a savior, and so they see that if they get vaccinated, well, definitely then everything will go well. The truth is, wellness is where things go well. When you live in wellness, when you have a lifestyle of wellness, and that is daily activities that see to the health and proper functioning of your mind, body, and spirit. Because wellness doesn't just have to do with the physical body, it has to do with the whole man. And so the vaccination, of course, gives us that special protection against this particular virus. But we have so many other things that expose us to the virus in the first place, which many times have to do with our behavior, our thoughts, that we have no vaccine against. And so if we learn to work on our thoughts, our mindsets, our attitudes, our approaches to life, our approaches to our body and our health, then you would have a different outcome where this virus and any other viruses are concerned.
All right, so what is the message that you would love to leave with our viewers this morning? And let me viewers, Living in Health, okay? Living in Health by Billy Sterling Lewis. What is the message that you'd like to leave with them with regards to this book and, you know, changing? Because at the end of the day, yes, we want to make money, we want to live long, but we need to be healthy.
Yeah, this book, this title comes from actually the scripture. It's a psycho-spiritual book. I wish above all things, I love the fact you did,
That's right.
you did that. I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health as your soul prospers. So many times we focus on the prosperity part of it. So many times we focus on the soul part of it. But the truth is, for us to be able to operate in our soully realm, for us to be able to operate with our monies, we have to be living in health. We have to be healthy. And so if we see health as a priority, and I encourage people to make health a value, not just in terms of being skinny, which I like to be, being skinny, but definitely in terms of having health and wellness, in terms of your thoughts, your relationships, your finances, your intellect. There are 9 dimensions to wellness. If we are able to really hone in on those and develop them and keep them going and teach them to our younger ones, then we have a better chance for longevity, and not only longevity, but quality of life. So the message for us today is to live in health, and don't wait until tomorrow. Start now.
Yeah, you know, during this last year and a half or so, we have seen videos of persons who have been recovering from, those who were able to recover from COVID-19. And the one thing that they indicated was that, you know, if they could pay, there was no guarantee on them recovering, but if they could pay to recover, pay to be in good health, they would do it. So, I mean, there's no, you can't equate it. There's no
price. There's no price in health. And that is one of the challenges we face. And I actually was thinking about it the other day. You know, if in our COVID facilities, if we allowed persons to have that whole wellness approach. Now, people are just trying to save lives, but something as simple as meditation and prayer and zeroing in on what you have in front of you, the here and now, because COVID brings so much anxiety. And over time, anxiety and stress lowers the immune system. So you're fighting something with, you're fighting an enemy with the tools that strengthen the enemy.
Right.
You know? And so in many instances, you can't win. Ask those who survived. even if they were doubtful at first, there was a pivotal turning point in the way they began to process their illness and their recovery. And that's where, with the physical work, things began to change for them. So it's important all around.
All right, so very quickly here, Billy, who would you like to say thank you to in 10 seconds?
Thank you to everybody, my husband, those who have supported the process throughout, and thank you guys for allowing me to share this morning.
All right, well, so happy to have you on the program with us. Remember, viewers, it's the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We want to thank all our viewers for joining us today. Have a great day. Stay safe on the roads. And remember to wear your mask. Billy, you've got to help me this morning. Wear your mask, sanitize, and
wash your hands.
You gotta, socially distance. See that? That's right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we don't even get to touch.
When you're moving from place to place, good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.